In fictional universes with versatile writing, a great example being the One Punch Man and the manga, in this universe you can get ridiculously strong just from lifting weights, or be a cyborg, increase your physicals to where you can hone your swordplay and you become a superhuman swordsman, if you wish, or use telekinesis like certain characters, or just straight up fighting skills like this being known as Bang. He's one of the many beings that's strong in the One Punch Man and a manga. In the One Punch Man universe, there's monsters, so there's a monster association or organization, and there's a hero association naturally, good versus evil. You see what they did there? Naturally, in these two organizations, there's different tiers or rankings of the different power levels in these organizations. He's within the top 10. Don't be surprised in this video if I bring him up or compare him to the other heroes via ranking, because, you know, he's got to be somewhere in certain characters' ballpark if he's higher than certain characters. One Punch Man universe is a universe where you can be a straight normal human with enough training, you can achieve superhuman strength, and your fighting skills can make you super strong too. One could say that's how Bang is. I mean, the guy's 81, so you know he has fighting experience. Bang has this technique that increases his statistics. One could say it's called awakening breath, a technique that draws from the very limits of one's body. He does it here, you see him breathe. And that's, yeah, Bang doing this. In his past, it's obvious he believes in fighting because he had a dojo full of pupils until one of his pupils went rogue and fell into the darkness. Bang, as a hero, decides to pursue that man. I think it would be smart not to mess with him in his youth because the boy was just a freaking Chad. I mean, Bang even entered the super fight tournament to promote his dojo and won. More proof of how much of a threat he is. One of his former students, Garo, was one of his disciples at one point, and this guy's one of the most dangerous beings in the One Punch Man universe, which you're going to see later on in this vid. Even bested him back in the day. It was even stated here he was one of his best disciples. He had to get rid of him though. So don't be surprised when you see him do superhuman stuff via fighting skills and stuff, or stances. He can punch really freaking hard. Since we know he's an older guy, we know he has plenty of fighting experience versus a lot of other characters. I mean, look, this is how he looked when he was young, in great shape, and he's still in great shape, but he has a whole bunch of scars proving that he has a lot of battle experience, wear and tear, been through a lot of stuff. Due to mixing in his superhuman attributes with his martial arts style, he can blend in perfect with offense and defense stated here when it comes to him punching stuff really hard, or doing defensive type techniques that remind me of Neji's palm rotation from Naruto. He can hit you hard enough to send you through multiple tree trunks. As you can see, his attacks can break rubble, protecting generals here, protecting from meteorite pieces. It's little light moments like this chops all these plates. When it comes to hitting stuff, even if the beings are bigger than him, size seems to mean nothing to him. Just like how he busted apart this creature's head, even blitzed the part of this creature that allows him to regenerate. Just like how there's different tiers when it comes to heroes, and Bang is one of the ones that's the S tier at the pretty high up on the food chain. Top 10 of S tier, might I add. When it comes to the creatures, they have their own disaster levels. Demon or above is a threat for a city or higher. Bringing up these different disaster ranks can really give you an idea of how strong Bang is when it comes to how hard he can hit or what's the power he can produce. Demon level threats he can manhandle with ease. Speaking of disaster threats, so you kind of already know Demon is a threat for a whole city, but what about the higher rank known as Dragon? Elder Centipede, for example, who is a dragon level disaster rank, something that's a threat to multiple cities, working together with another being that can fight. Notice what they do to the ground with his fighting style, of course. They stop this dragon level threat in his tracks like a dead stop with the amount of power they're producing outward. These two powerful beings working together, Silver Fox Bang being a helpful aid, knocks this dragon level threat backwards. And they stated on panel that they cracked this dragon level threat, Elder Centipede's carapace, proving that Fang can damage him. And he and the other dude continues to spam attacks on him. When you think about the size of Elder Centipede, you think about how much bigger he is than the biggest buildings. It's obvious that Bang could easily level buildings or multiple. Building destruction should be a joke at this point. I mean, he's a top tier S-class. I mean, that's light work. I mean, he fights beings that's a threat to a city or multiple cities, right? Or damage them, right? First of all, when it comes to the monster disaster ranks, Elder Centipede is above other demon class threats. When it comes to destructive power, Elder Centipede is above this being, for example. If there's higher end demon level threats that can level a city or something close to a city with their punches, imagine what Elder Centipede is a threat for, you know what I mean? Like beings that are lower than dragon, upper echelon demon level threats can level a whole town in a single punch. So when they say these characters are a threat to a city or multiple cities, they mean it quite literally, like they can actually punch it or blast it apart, depending on what their specific power set is when it comes to why they're strong. This is something Silver Fang, due to how high rank he is, he should be able to do something like this similarly. And Bang, along with another being, work together, can knock Elder Centipede backwards. Is there any doubt at this point that his punches or strikes can tremble a mountain? Man, he's a top 3 S rank. Bang having the power to level a city or tremble a city should be something that's reasonable at this point when you consider the disaster ranks he can knock back. Beings that are a threat to his whole city or beings that are a threat to multiple cities. He can one-shot beings that are a threat to a whole city. So it really makes sense for him being able to level at least one city. This is actually low end, honestly. He should be able to level multiple, honestly. Look what he does to the ground with punches. Yeah, catastrophic just from punches. Him doing all this damage to the ground. Yeah, leveling buildings is easy, even mountains, stuff like that. It all adds up with his lore and how top tiers work in the One Punch Man universe. Beings on his threat level, he can react to and dodge their attacks. He's saved beings from being crushed by beings on a dragon level, Elder Centipede. Yeah, these humans are built different in this universe. He literally got hit, bounces off the debris, smashed into a falling building, and he gets back up, saying his shoulders are getting stiff and he was careless. He seems like he's ready for more, like that wasn't enough to take him on, showing how much he can withstand. Matter of fact, beings that are a threat to multiple cities, like Elder Centipede, he gets smacked by, and he can continue fighting after getting hit. Them messing up Elder Centipede with their strike, spamming a whole bunch of attacks against him, pretty much forcing him to go night-night. Something that's a threat to multiple cities. Thick chunks of the ground he can flip up with his landing. Here's how this moment looks in animation, him flipping up that concrete. He's knocked attacks from creatures back with his fighting ability. It's crazy that in the lore, it was stated that Bang's aura even makes Tatsumaki somebody that outclasses him flinch, even though she outranks him. His presence is exceptional. One thing I'm not a fan of is jumping to conclusions or making big assumptions, but due to the fact that Fang is ridiculously high on the food chain, a good way to understand how high he is on the food chain is based on beings that are lower than him in the rankings, like Genos, for example, somebody we all love. Genos was able to deflect an attack from a being that can basically split continents on a whim. Other S-rank heroes that are lower ranked than him could blow away meteors too, like Genos. So it's obvious that Bang probably could do a meteor busting attack too if he really was put in that situation, but he just lacks the screen time like Genos. One could even argue if he could produce country deleting attacks or smaller country leveling attacks, considering there's beings that are lower than him in S rank that can actually deflect attacks that can level continents. But what do you guys think about that? Thought I was done with the disaster ranks. We got this creature known as Overgrown Rover, is a disaster rank dragon. With help, he got buffed in this particular situation to help his pain not be as much. Thanks to his fighting and everything put together, he was able to deflect attacks from beings that are dragon level threats, aka a threat to multiple cities. And he's deflecting attacks like this. He was able to blitz this creature with help from other top tiers as well, with a spam of punches or attacks. This proves that all S tiers aren't made equal. Like, for example, there's some beings he can't actually harm in the S rank that are actually lower ranked than him, but he can win in a fight because he kept knocking them on his butt over and over again, thanks to pure fighting skills, a mixture of his strength and everything like that. Just deflected all his attacks and got smashed to the ground over and over. There's a lot of beings in the Monster Association. We've seen him damage a weakened version of this being known as Orochi right here, for example. Someone that can move the planet's core and then blast with it. It's hard to give you an idea of how strong he is doing this to a version of Orochi here. This guy is strong enough to multitask to where he's holding a grown behind man and still was able to deflect an attack with a kick while multitasking, holding somebody else, somebody that's a dragon level, deflects this punch back into his own face. This being was a dragon level threat to multiple cities, by the way. And you got beings like this, who's a dragon level disaster rank. He just blitzes right through threats that are a threat to multiple cities. And when it comes to both of these dragon level threats, y'all just get treated like jokes. Y'all just need to stop. You remember the guy I brought up earlier? Yeah, Fang is responsible for this beast that ends up fighting Saitama and destroys planets and stuff. He went through a crazy evolution, different forms. Bang wasn't necessarily able to fight him in his greatest form, but he was able to fight him in previous stages. Still kind of shows how strong Bang is. We've seen him in contests against Garo in contests of skill, or one could say power, but put together. Seen him able to parry Garo in these weaker states, flip him into the air, all that good stuff, his former student. Long story short, Garo did end up getting too strong for Fang, but Fang didn't go out without a fight. The shockwaves of their attacks was turning debris into powder. But despite Garo going on his eternity status, getting cosmic as heck, he still did some decent damage on him. Despite Garo being powered up more than ever before and Fang fought him, for example, them fighting really intensely, it's really hard to gauge how strong Bang is when he goes all out. I think we all can assume he's definitely not on like the higher echelons of Garo. Like, you know, there's a reason they had to pull out Saitama for him when he was in this mode, you know, it just makes sense. But at the end of the day, everybody, all of this could be just me. Do you respect Bang? Yeah, he's ridiculously strong, lacks screen time, got a few flashy showings, but it's really hard to gauge. You know what I mean? He's not a telekinetic being. There's some beings lower ranked than him, he has trouble actually harming, so it's kind of hard to get a real concreteness on him, but he's ridiculously strong regardless. He's literally one rank below Tatsumaki, a sign being that can cause continental force, stuff like that. So you gotta respect him regardless, right? But I gotta say thanks for the donations, everybody. Helps all out. Respect strong humans in the One Punch Man universe. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.